Can I ride everything in Epic Universe in one day? And if so, how fast can I do it? I'm about to find out. That's right, I am here at the newest Universal Orlando theme park, Epic Universe, and we are taking on every single attraction. That's all the rides and all the shows. We've got 13 things on our list today, and many of these are popular, so we'll see how we do. But let's see what we can knock out. Park just opened, headed into Celestial Park. Now, we don't have early entry, so hotel guests, Universal hotel guests have been in the park for an hour already, and they've been able to access Super Nintendo World only. Typically, they would be able to access Stardust Racers as well, but Stardust Racers is having a delayed opening today. Hopefully it comes up because I do love that ride. But for the sake of our challenge, an attraction that is closed for the entire day does not count against us. So if it is impossible to ride a ride during the entire day, then it doesn't count. And we can still ride everything, even if Stardust Racers never came up. That said, if Stardust Racers came up for even 5 minutes and then went back down, that would count against us. So a little bit of a game to play when there are attractions going down, of course. But I think I'm gonna start our day in Isle of Berk. Isle of Berk has 3 rides, one of which is very popular, one of which has a low capacity, so it can get a long line, and one is not that popular, but a pretty good time. I'm gonna start there because most folks in the park are either coming out of Super Nintendo World right now, or they are heading into Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry, which is gonna be our problem ride today. That is the most popular ride in the park. It is the only Harry Potter ride at Epic Universe, and it is extremely popular. Right now it has a 180-minute wait. Woof. But we will fight that battle when it comes to it, cross that bridge when it comes to it. For now, we're gonna head into a land of Vikings and dragons. How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. We are gonna start with Dragon Racers Rally. Dragon Racers Rally is a very fun ride. It is a ride you may have seen similar versions elsewhere. It's not like unique to Universal. It's a super cool ride because you do get to control your own ride vehicle. You can swing the wings on either side of your seat and make your seat swing back and forth and even flip all the way upside down if you're lucky. It is very cool. And the flipping upside down is hard. It took me 3 times on this ride to successfully do it. But on the 3rd time, I did it. And I did it 3 times on the ride, and it was so much fun. Some of the most fun I've had in this park because you do have a sense of satisfaction. The story of this ride is that you are dragon racing, a classic sport on Isle of Berk that began because they used to have to chase down stolen sheep. And now dragon racing is a little bit more of a sport than a necessity. The ride isn't super heavily themed outside of offering great views of Berk, and you do not need to flip upside down. So if you would rather stay upright, the ride vehicle will stay balanced and keep you upright and feel a little bit more like a unique Dumbo, if that's more your speed. Dragon Racers Rally, check. Posted 20-minute wait. It was actually a 15-minute wait, so pretty close there. I did do a barrel roll. I got 1. There's no filming on the rides, and even if there was, it would be impossible to film on this. So I will get someone to get a video of me doing a barrel roll. Maybe tomorrow I'll try to get Miranda to do it. I'm here with her because I figured out how to do it. I'm very happy about it. But I did get my barrel roll, so that's amazing. Posted 5-minute wait on Hiccup Swing Gliders, so I do think Dragon Racers Rally was the right call. Hiccup Swing Gliders is more popular, but Dragon Racers Rally has low capacity, so that's why that happens. Now, Hiccup's Wing Gliders is a roller coaster. It's a launch coaster that I've been calling Hagrid's little brother because it is a similar ride system to Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. It has a similar vibe as well. On this one, you are training to fly on the back of a dragon. To train, Hiccup has put together a contraption for you that simulates what it is like to fly on the back of a dragon. All you need is for them to add the wings. So you stop by Hiccup's workshop, Toothless presses the button to put your wings on for you, and then you launch into the sky. Now, there is no filming on rides, but this is a very popular ride. It is a family coaster, but it does have a bit of a higher height requirement. Most folks rave about this one. It's actually not my favorite, and that is one, because it's actually a little intense, and there are 2 points where the G-forces are high enough to make me gray out, which I don't like, and typically only happens to me on much bigger coasters than this. And 2, the lap restraints are very pinchy on my legs, But I haven't heard a lot of people complain about that. So I do think that might be more of a me problem. Regardless, I do think you should give this one a try. Just know that I have issues with it, you might too, which is true of any ride. You might have issues with it or you might love it. Now in Dragon Racers Rally, you cannot have your things with you. So you do put them in little cubbies that they close off as soon as your entire ride vehicle has loaded in, and then they open back up for you when you're on the other side of it. But this ride uses the same locker system that most of the rides around Epic Universe do, and that is facial recognition lockers. Now they're just up ahead here, and basically all you do is you go up to the locker, you let it take a picture of you, you confirm your photo, and then it will open a locker for you. After that locker is open, you put all your stuff in, you close your locker, you move on. After the ride, you go to the other side of the lockers, let it take a picture of you again, and it will open your locker. You don't have to carry anything with you. Your face is your key. That said, do remember your locker number, just in case something goes wrong and you need them to open it for you. That one's just not for me. I think I've ranked the rides already, and you can see that on the channel. So today, I'm going to assign each ride to a character from its respective movie, or whatever it's closest to. So, Dragon Racers Rally, this is kind of a cop-out. Well, this makes it too easy. Well, no, you know what, I'll do it. Dragon Racers Rally is Astrid. A little fiery, also sweet, really fun, but like maybe a little more than she appears at first. And then Hiccup Swing Gliders, I think it's obviously Hiccup. It's all about invention and like aspiration and flying, and it has that incredible How to Train Your Dragon music. And then Fire Drill, I'm not on yet. And I'm debating if I want to do it right now because this one gets you soaked. But I did see that Stardust Racers is up, so it's not a bad idea to do this and then go dry off on Stardust Racers. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Fire Drill is the Tough Nut and Rough Nut ride, the twins from the movie. Basically on this ride, you know, you're Viking training. That's kind of the shtick here in Berk. And on this ride, you're learning how to put out fires, which is a very important skill when you live in a town full of dragons. So you have little water cannons on your boat. You want to aim for the little targets. There are a couple of different types of targets. The basic ones are the fire ones. The green ones are a little harder to hit, so you can get bragging rights if you hit those. And the blue ones come with a little bit of a surprise, and that is blasting water back at you dramatically. I do recommend, if you want to ride this with your family, sitting as close as you can to the front of the vehicle and then aiming for those blue targets. In most cases, it will soak your family and not you. So, worth doing. I think this ride is a total blast, but you do get absolutely drenched, which is why right now it's a walk-on. 5-minute wait, 5-minute wait walk-on. I came off relatively unscathed. My legs are pretty wet, but to be fair, there was nobody else on my side of the boat, and I was being a little safe because I goofed up, and there is a like big box that when you board the vehicle will be open, and you can put your items in it, and it will keep them dry. And I didn't do that, and I sat down, and then I didn't realize until they closed the box and the ride started moving. So I had like my bag of electronics with me. So I didn't go as hard as I normally would. I don't mind getting soaked on a theme park ride. I think it's pretty fun. And it's hot here in Florida. But that one is very obviously Rough Nut and Tough Nut as a duo. I mean, it's their ride. It's silly, laugh out loud fun. You can shoot at the other boats, which is always very fun. And you can get your family soaked. It's like, there's nothing that brings people together more than being on a water ride. If you ever get in a raft with like strangers, nobody has to speak the same language, you're still gonna have a great time. It's kind of the same on Fire Drill. Everybody's laughing and everybody else getting soaked and trying to fire at the other boats. The sense of camaraderie, you know? So that is all the true rides here in Isle of Berk. The first show, the Untrainable Dragon, is not until 10:45. So we are not gonna hang out here waiting around for that. Instead, we're gonna move on, I think dry off a bit by hitting Stardust Racers, as long as the line hasn't spiked up since it was down during early entry. But I'm optimistic. Now, as you may have noticed, this is a brand new theme park and it doesn't feel like it's absolutely slammed with people. That is very true. They have capped capacity in the early weeks of it being open. And it seems like it'll be capped and go a little slower until potentially July. That is an educated guess. Don't quote me on it, but I want to give you my thought. I think July is when they're going to ramp it up to close to full. However, I have experienced Epic Universe at close to full capacity. During the previews, they did a whole variety of capacity counts, and I was here on some very busy days. And on those days, for sure, the lines can get long. On the busiest of days, I've seen most lines sitting around like 40-ish minutes, and then your spikes go up to be like around an hour, 75 minutes, with of course your massive spike going to Battle at the Ministry and weirdly the Toothless meet and greet. Those tend to be the two longest lines in the park, and can often be on those very busy days 2 hours, so if not more. I mean, even right now on a not busy day, Battle at the Ministry is 3 hours. It has been seen to go up to 5 hours, but it only recently started using that standby line, so we're still experimenting with it. In fact, Breedlove is here today to test the standby line and see if that wait time is accurate. So remember, this is a new theme park. They are also learning how crowd flow and how guest flow and how lines move. In most instances, I've noticed the lines have been shorter than posted, but Wizarding World, I've heard, has been pretty spot on, which is wild because Battle at the Ministry has had a posted 300-minute wait often. Here is Stardust Racers. I see people up there in the queue. If the wait isn't too long, I think this is our next stop. Now, Stardust Racers is an attraction here in Celestial Park. It is the biggest roller coaster in the park, so the most significant coaster that you'll find. 10-minute posted wait is awesome for this ride. This is a dual track coaster. The coasters do launch at the same time, so you are right next to, for much of the ride, another ride vehicle also doing the coaster, which is very cool. It's supposed to be that you are comets racing through the sky, and one of the very fun ways that they accomplish this is at night. Only the ride vehicles are lit, the track is not. So it does look like comets racing through the sky. This is, no exaggeration, my favorite roller coaster of all time. It is so much fun. It has a lot of like negative lift you out of your seat forces, and it doesn't give me a headache or make me sick, which I can't say of almost any other large coaster, if any other large coaster. So really, really love this coaster. Breedlove's a massive coaster fan, and he hesitates to call it the greatest of all time, but he does call it perfect. So, you know, if anything, it's pretty close to the greatest of all time. Now, this one is the only ride in the park where you do have to go through metal detectors. You cannot have anything in your pockets on this ride, and the metal detectors are up the stairs, so that's where you'll lose me. Everything does have to go in lockers. I do recommend when you get into a crowded locker space like this, moving all the way down. There tends to be a lot fewer people at the last lockers. Bye. Oh hey, now we're on the other side. Woo. Okay, I'm considering doing something kind of wild. So it's 10:23, an hour and 20 minutes into the park day. We're 4 rides down. I'm considering going for Battle at the Ministry because if it's remained up all morning, there's a couple of things that make me think that's a good idea. For one, Battle at the Ministry is a ride that if it goes down for long enough with certain circumstances, they will give express passes to everybody in the queue, and that can really elongate the ride later in the day. Also, if it's been running smoothly, then the people who rush there to get on it this morning have probably already moved through, and it is down to a 100-minute wait, which is, to be fair, the lowest I've personally ever seen it. I do know it's gone lower than that in the evenings, but the other thing is it is a very technically complex ride. It's been running smoothly since the park opened, relatively, but if it does go down, it risks being our fail point for the challenge today, and I'm just worried about risking that. Now, by making this choice, I caused us another issue because it is late May in Orlando, and that's about when the rainy season starts to pick up. We've been having thunderstorms every single day. So in the afternoon, if we get a thunderstorm, that is not something that would affect Battle at the Ministry, but it is something that would affect a couple of our other outdoor coasters that we haven't done yet, Carousel the Werewolf and Minecart Madness, and Yoshi's Adventure is outdoors. So I'm playing a little bit of a risky game by choosing Battle at the Ministry, but I do think I'm going to. Right now I'm walking away from it because one, I'm gonna real quick splash around in Astronomica. This is technically listed as an attraction. I don't want to get like blasted with water. Yes! It's dancing water. It dances with the it dances with the music that's happening, and it's a very beautiful splash pad, honestly. Like, I don't want to get, I've already gotten soaked, don't want to get more soaked. So, but if I were a little kid, I'd be running in that like nobody's business. Which is good because there isn't a lot for little tiny kiddos to do in this park. But right now I'm also headed over to the secret Starbucks location. I call it secret because there is a full indoor Starbucks location at the front of the park. It does tend to have long lines in the morning. This one over here by Pizza Moon and the Dark Universe portal does not tend to have long lines. Usually has like 1 or 2 people waiting. So if you see a long line at that Starbucks at the front of the park, head back here. But I am gonna grab some provisions for the line because that's gonna be one of our best times to go ahead and get some coffee in our system as while we're in line for Battle at the Ministry. My big old Starbucks and some egg bites acquired. We got coffee and a snack for the line over at Battle at the Ministry. The fountain show is going on right now. I really love the fountain show here because one, it interacts with all the fountains in Celestial Park, not just the ones in the big area. It also runs periodically all day and all night. It's obviously prettier at night, that's the best time to watch it. But there are 5 different sets, one for each land with music from that land. And I just think it's really cool that they have a daytime fountain show. What a fun way to sit and like take a little break. I can see a lot of people with their phones up watching it, so. Oh my gosh, I was so hung up on my Battle at the Ministry plan that I forgot to tell you guys how I felt about Stardust Racers. So much fun. I rode the yellow side, which is the left side as you're boarding. I like the yellow a little better because it is a little less intense, only barely. The green side, both sides have an inversion. The thing to me that makes the green side more intense is that the inversion happens as you're going up and cresting the top of the hill, and then yellows immediately follows as you're going down on the other side of the hill, which feels a little bit more natural. So that's why I think it's less intense. So yeah, yellow side is my preference. If you want a more intense ride, go green. And now, woo, big bug, bee. We're in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic. I'm a little nervous. No, okay, I think we're okay. I got a little nervous because there just weren't a lot of folks in here, and that can sometimes mean that the ride is down and I missed something, but actually there's more people in here than I thought. Beautiful land inspired by the Fantastic Beasts films. Now yes, time is a little wonky here. Time magic is going on. There's a time turner in the portal. And so when you arrive, you're arriving in 1920s Paris, the time of Newt Scamander. But when you take the flu powder for the ride, you will end up in 1990s London. So you do a little time traveling here, but hey, timey-wimey stuff, you know? It doesn't always have to make sense for it to be super fun. The ride is back here to our left in this building that says Metro Flu. This is Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry, a groundbreaking new attraction that brings you into the world of Harry Potter like never before. You are there to see the trial of Dolores Umbridge. This happens after the events of the films, and the whole Wizarding World is there. You're there. Everybody wants to see this trial. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are there, and things go a little awry when Umbridge breaks free with the help of some Death Eaters. I am not going to spoil too much, but after she breaks free, things kind of go wild, and you are careened through many different areas as you experience this attraction. We are going to be a bit in the outdoor queue, it looks like, which I have never been in. There is very little outdoor queue for this ride. Most of the queue is inside, and it is over a mile long. So buckle up, Buttercup. We're gonna be in here for a minute, which is why we brought provisions. But this is a queue that I say I would wait in line to wait in this line. And I mean that with my full chest. So pretty excited to hang out in the queue for a bit, even if it might be a little longer than I want. Ooh, blue powder. They have a water stand open in here, so that's good. Pro tip about the ministry, you do have to wait in line in this big room. I know that during some of the previews you wouldn't have seen that. While you wait in line in this big room, this queue can and will get backed up as well. But don't worry if you don't get your great, beautiful ministry picture. You exit through this room as well. So when you are exiting on the other side of the room, it's a little bit easier to get that beautiful ministry picture than it is before the ride because you are in a queue. Just a little update on how we're moving. It took about 20 minutes to get to the flu powder, another 20 to get through the atrium, the big atrium. And now I'm in this sort of like windy multi-room part of the queue. So I'll keep you updated. So fun fact, this is Hoover, the vacuum. Very funny name for a vacuum. He's been trying to clean up Umbridge's messes all around. You can actually see him on the ride. I won't be able to show you, but you can see him desperately trying to clean up rubble at the end of the ride. He actually malfunctions and makes papers fly through one of the offices in the atrium. So it's a fun little mini story just for the ride. It's been just over an hour, so I think this is going to be less than 100 minutes, which is awesome. I'm boarding after just 80 minutes in line. That's 20 minutes fewer than they said, which is amazing. I just finished my coffee, also amazing. And not amazing, I found out after I was literally almost to the ride that the single rider line was open. I probably could have waited 40. The single rider line has been a little bit less than half of what the posted is for this when it's been open, so I probably would have waited 40. Or less. It could have been 30 or something. So that's a mistake. It's still fine. I'm so glad with what's happened here. But yeah, if you're willing and able to split up your party, there are single rider lines for almost every single ride at Epic Universe. They won't always be open, but when they are, you can get on much faster than waiting in the regular line. The only one that it doesn't work as well for is Minecart Madness, the Donkey Kong ride. But still, I'm going to go board the ride, and I will see you after. Good and done. 80 minutes is incredible for that. The posted wait is now 90, which means probably the wait's about 70, maybe a little less. And I could have used a single rider line. I'm so beating myself up about that. If I fail, that literally was it. That was it. Ugh. Okay, that's fine. It's funny, the queue actually physically looks a little longer now than when I got it. So maybe it actually is around 90. I don't know. Look. But maybe it's shorter past the flu. It's kind of hard to tell visually with this queue, but luckily Breedlove is here and he actually just got in the queue. So we're learning more and more about how accurate these wait times are. We are keeping that all updated on AllEars.net. So if you're really curious about stuff, you can check it out over there where we're putting all our data, but we are headed out. So we have more rides to do. I'm thinking like maybe I should do the show right now and not have to walk back over here. However, I think ultimately it's better to go ahead and do my outdoor attractions that I'm nervous about in the event there's weather this afternoon. So that is what we are going to do instead, is I think pop over and do Curse of the Werewolf and my favorite, Monsters Unchained. And then after that, we can do Minecart Madness is at 60 minutes right now, which is not surprising to me. It does make me wonder if it was down during early entry, which it could have been, but that one is very popular and a little bit lower capacity. I do think I'm gonna try the single rider line for it today. I've never personally done the single rider line for Minecart Madness, but our team has, and they have said that it does move slowly. It is the only single rider line that doesn't seem to be worth it and moves about the same as the regular line. So I think worth testing. I mean, worst case scenario, it moves a little slower than the regular line. I'm hoping they've maybe got a little bit of their single rider system moving a bit better, so we'll find out. All right, your girl is heading to her favorite portal. Now, I have been asked a lot what my favorite portal is. This is my 14th day at Epic Universe. I'm extremely fortunate for that. And it has taken a long time for me to decide. The portal that had the best first impression on me was Isle of Berk. But the more time I've spent here, I've done 10-hour days in every portal except Isle of Berk, still to come, where I just stayed park open and park closed in the portals. The one that has my heart is Dark Universe. I don't know who I was kidding when I was saying otherwise. I love it there. I love meeting the monsters. I love the rides. I love the food and the restaurants and the story and the lore. I love getting my face painted like a monster. I just love it there. I literally think about how I wish I was hanging out in Dark Universe all the time. In the past few years, I've totally fallen in love with Universal monsters. I've always been a vampire girl. I loved, Twilight as a kid, any vampire stories. Dracula is my favorite book of all time. And I get to walk around in such a spooky world, inspired by these characters that I love and these stories that I love. Whenever I want, not whenever I want, it costs the theme park ticket to get in here, but it's still just so cool that it exists and is real. And as an extension, my favorite ride is 100% Monsters Unchained. It was hard at first because on first impression, Battle at the Ministry is more impressive, technologically, more immersive. Stardust Racers was the most fun on a first ride, but having ridden them all multiple times now, there is one ride and one ride only. At the end of this park day, if I have 10 minutes left, I ask myself if I can make it to Monsters Unchained. And that's how I know that that's my ride. I love it. And we're gonna ride Curse of the Werewolf first, just because that is our one that weather is concerning. I know what you're thinking, Quincy, look at the sky. It's not gonna rain. It's probably not. But this is Florida we're talking about. And we could see just dark clouds roll in under 45 seconds at any given time and start thundering and pouring. All right, so that's of course the main ride in Frankenstein Manor, but we are gonna turn left and head toward Curse of the Werewolf. Only a 10-minute wait on Monsters Unchained. That's incredible. This ride is a very high capacity attraction. It's also one that kiddos might be too short or too scared to ride. So it doesn't always, and even not kiddos. I know some adults who won't ever ride it again after riding it because it was scary. It is not that scary, but if you are a total no-go on any horror, it probably will be too much for you. But Emma cannot handle Halloween Horror Nights even a bit, and she loved Monsters Unchained. So did Fry, same deal with her. So scaredy cats can like it, but it's not a guarantee. Curse of the Werewolf is a coaster, a family coaster. It does spin freely, so there's no mechanical spinning on it. Your coaster vehicle spins in reaction to how the ride is moving. It makes it surprisingly thrilling, honestly, but the story of this is that you are going to see Maleva to find out if you have the Curse of the Werewolf. I don't know, what do you guys think? You guys think I have the Curse of the Werewolf? I hope not. I do not think Dracula would like me as much if I did. Now, as we all know, I want to kiss that animatronic on the mouth. All right, I'm hopping in single rider. 12:25 right now. Posted wait is 25 minutes. I don't think it's actually that long. The queue looks pretty empty. And single rider looks like we might walk right up. Oh no, okay. There's some line up here. But the single rider, just 12 people in front of us maybe. 7 minutes in the single rider line, that's it. Woo! You definitely get spun a good bit on that one. It is so fun though. The thing that makes me not get too overwhelmed or sick or headache because of the spinning is because it's the real actual motion. The ride vehicle isn't spinning on an engine, it is spinning based on the movement the ride is already making, which makes it make more sense to my brain. It doesn't really feel like Guardians, but I know there are coasters like this around, so if you recognize that spinning motion. Very fun roller coaster. I don't think I could do it 2 times in a row, but fun. I forgot I was naming characters. Well, maybe I'll just give up on that. So I've been sharing some strategies so far of how to make this happen. I think we've got some pretty good ones going. Don't use that morning rush that everyone said to Harry Potter to knock out those popular Isle of Berk rides. Dragon Racers Rally is up to a 60-minute wait right now. The other long line in the park is Minecart Madness, and it just actually went to a delay, which is not good, but we're gonna do the single rider for Monsters Unchained. Pro tip with the single rider, it actually is kind of scary. The single rider queue is just as themed as the regular queue, and there are parts where it's literally just you wandering down a hallway, and it really does feel like you maybe escaped and are trying to get out of Frankenstein Manor, and there's monster noises happening. The lockers for the single rider are all the way down here though, so I'm gonna toss my stuff in. New rule she just told me, no hats at all. So it used to be that you could carry your hat, you just had to put it behind your back or keep it on your wrist, but new rule, no hats at all. So as you can see, the single rider takes you sort of wandering up into the manor, and it's just as themed as the rest of the queue, just without the big, you know, intense, like, intricate rooms. But look at this. How spooky is this? Like, you tell me right now that I didn't get trapped here and I'm not creeping through hoping I don't get caught by something. It's so scary. I'm serious. Like, if you don't like being alone in scary spaces, don't do the single rider by yourself. Like, if you're gonna walk with your friend and ride separately, that's fine, because you don't have to be actually at the park. Oh, it's scary. You can see Dracula's tomb in there. The other thing to note about this is it does skip the pre-show. So if you want to see those amazing pre-shows, which you do not do the single rider. But hopefully to make up for a bit of the time that I wasted not doing the single rider for Battle of the Ministry, we are going to skip these pre-shows. We'll do the same for Mario Kart. Gonna go see Dracula, my man. So good, dude. Every time I've ridden this ride more than any in the park. I will continue to do that. I'm obsessed with this ride. The animatronics are so awesome. I want to kiss the Dracula animatronic on the mouth. You see Wolfman, you see Gillman, you see the Mummy, you see all the brides, you see Frankenstein, you got Victoria, you got Igor. It's incredible. My one little thing I'm worried about right now with this is it does seem to me like they have adjusted the finale Dracula animatronic. He, during the previews, had some issues. Sometimes he would work, sometimes he wouldn't. When he works, he flies out of his little hutch towards you and then gets knocked back into his little hutch. Right now, he's not coming out of his little hutch. He's still moving, like he's still fully articulated, but he doesn't fly out towards you and get sucked back. I'm a little nervous because I saw him a bunch of times where he wasn't working at all and he looked kind of silly. And so I'm really nervous that that is their permanent fix for him. So I'm crossing my fingers they do try to get him leaping out and coming back again, because that was an incredible effect. He still looks really cool, but not quite as cool as he used to. It is my custom to always do a sweep for new merch in Dark Universe. Oh, check this out. My friend Rhino from the Diz showed me this. This is a beverage pocket in this hoodie, and there's an attached bottle opener. How crazy is that? And also the hat, bottle opener. Burning Blade knows where it's at. I'm not seeing anything fresh. I want this hat. Anyway, I'm doing a ride challenge. I need to not be shopping. And just like that, that's Dark Universe cleared, which is wild. So let's move on. Let's see. Gotta go do Nintendo. The sky does look better than it was looking earlier. I will give it that. So I'm feeling a little less stressed out the outdoor thing. I might knock out Constellation Carousel on the way to Nintendo. Constellation Carousel is next. This is the other Celestial Park attraction besides Stardust Racers. It is a little bit of a twist on your classic carousel. One of the very fun things about it is that there are different songs you can get, and the ride is a different experience depending on the songs, which is very cool. All of the ride vehicles, the carousel animals, are inspired by constellations, which is super cool as well. But it is probably the least exciting ride in the park for those of us who are a little past carousel age. That said, I love a carousel. I think if you walk by and it's a walk-on, it's worth doing, even if it's not the most exciting thing in the park, but you'll probably have other priorities. but it's also one of the best things for little kiddos, and the only ride in the park that does not have a height requirement, for real. So it fills an important niche. All right, check. Not the most exciting ride in the world, sure, but it is more charming than your classic carousel, which is saying something because classic carousels are pretty charming. So I'm a fan of it. I especially like riding the constellations. I've actually never done this one at night, but I have heard that doing this at night is the way to do it because all of the animals have little lights in them that twinkle like stars, and the ground twinkles like stars, and the whole ride has all these light effects. So if you can do it at night, do it at night. But let's head into Super Nintendo World. This is our other land that has 3 attractions. So we have got a good chunk to knock out in here, and we're just gonna play it by ear and do what makes the most sense. As we walk in, I am gonna check the wait time for Minecart Madness while we head in. So Super Nintendo World, something like a sugar rush. For the first hour you're in here, it is so much fun. The longer you're in here, the more kind of like you start to lose it, at least as an adult. It's very loud, it's very fun, there's lots of sound effects. Minecart Madness is down to 40 minutes, which I actually think it could go lower. However, this is another one that might go down for weather, or even it has a technical difficulty. It's been pretty consistently running, so I'm not really worried about that second part, but I figure let's knock it out and not have to stress about it. I am gonna attempt that single rider line and see if it's any shorter than 40 minutes. So cross your fingers for me. What is so cool about this coaster though is that it does appear to jump the track, just like in the Donkey Kong games. It is an illusion track. You are looking at a track that is fake while you're on it, and the real track is below. It is a very effective illusion. It feels super cool when you're on the ride, but it does also make the ride very herky-jerky. So warning, it'll shake you around a bit. Something to be aware of. Single rider's line is open, so let's give her a shot. Okay, I'm the next single rider. It was a 35-minute wait, so 5 minutes lower than posted. Honestly, probably about the same for if I actually waited in the regular line. But, you know, toss up. Regardless, probably gonna be one of our longer waits of the day and not bad for this ride. Very fun, very herky-jerky. I'll tell you right now, my parents would hate that. I don't hate it, I like it. It shakes you around a lot. Sometimes it's a little too much, but not too bad for me that I can't enjoy the ride. My favorite part is probably like the first 20 seconds of the ride is the best part. It does feel a little on the short side, but it's kind of a novelty coaster. So, very cool. Yoshi's Adventure is up next for us. This is a Yoshi themed ride where you collect eggs. You have to collect 3 different eggs in order to get the golden egg at the end from Captain Toad or with Captain Toad. It is a very cute ride, and the first time I rode it, I really loved it because it was the most immersed in the world of Nintendo that I felt the whole time I was here, which is saying something because this land is very immersive. That said, it is certainly not one of the most eye-catching rides in the park, and if you have no familiarity of Nintendo or even just basic familiarity of Nintendo, this ride probably won't do much for you. My biggest complaint about it is it is clearly geared to be a little kid ride, and it does have a height requirement, which I really don't love about it. But I do like it. It's fun. It's a nice sort of relaxing one. It does get a bit hot in the middle of the day because you are out in the sun. And I'll tell you, it said 10 minutes, but this is going to be a walk-on. We only have 1 true ride left in the park. And it's just shows after that. Woo! That's wild. I'm moving pretty fast, I'll be honest. It's wild that, like, you can do all this stuff this quickly. Now, I haven't paused at all to eat or anything, but still, we're moving and grooving. You might enter Super Nintendo World through Peach's Castle over there, but one of the star attractions is located in Bowser's Castle. 55-minute posted wait, one of the longest in the park right now. But their single rider line is open. That's where we're headed. Now, I have used this single rider before. It is great, we'll see, but I'm pretty sure we'll get pretty close to the front by using this. Only catch is you get to see some of the really cool queue, but you skip a good chunk of it, as well as little pre-shows, instructionals for the ride. If you are a Nintendo fan, or if you want to like learn to play the game effectively, I would not use the single rider line, because it really does skip a lot of really cool stuff. If you want to know what you're missing, go ahead and check out my open to close 10-hour day here in Nintendo World. I did a really in-depth tour of the queue, so you can check that out and see if you're okay to miss it or not. But our single rider line walks us pretty much right up here to boarding. Okay, that's every ride in Epic Universe done by 2:45. Whew, park open at 9. That's not too shabby, that's what. Rides in under 6 hours, including one that we had to wait 80 minutes for. That's pretty cool. But we still have 2 more attractions. We've got to get the shows done. Leaving these to last a little risky, but I think we have enough time in our day that I'm not feeling too worried. So we're gonna head to the 3:30 Cirque Arcanus and then follow it up immediately with the 4:15 the Untrainable Dragon. And that, my friends, if we can do it, will be our day. Now, it is only 2:45 right now, so I think I have time to grab a quick bite prior to Cirque Arcanus. But I am gonna go over in that area just to make sure that the line doesn't get too long, because this is the most popular time of day for shows. We're in that really hot window where the shows, it's, you know, you wanna do them now. All right, heading up for Cirque Arcanus. This is a really interesting show filled with magical creatures, circus magic moments, and a lot of pretty cool special effects. I won't spoil too much, but it's got an incredible pre-show, and then you go into a seated room where you sit down and you actually watch the circus. And something's up at the circus because the ringmaster, Skender, has stolen Newt Scamander's suitcase. And we all know there's a lot of critters in there, so lots of critters are to be found in this show. It is a really, really cool show. It's one that I do like for the folks I come with to see, but it's not maybe the highest must-do. So, you know, it's a cool show. But we're gonna head inside because we do have to knock it out. It does take about like 30 minutes all in, starting at the pre-show, and I do recommend getting in line about 15 minutes prior to the show minimum. In fact, if you really want to make sure you make a show time, I would get there 30 minutes in advance because they do fill up. So I'm gonna head inside so that doesn't happen. Oh yeah, done with the Cirque, and look at this line of folks. Whew. Lots of people heading in for the next show. That is a lot of people. The Cirque Arcanus, check. I'm gonna actually start walking over to Untrainable Dragon because I don't wanna miss that one. I got in line about 20 minutes before the Cirque Arcanus started, and they shut the line off right after me. So make sure to line up early for these shows. They do fill up. It is not even that busy today, but again, it is that time of day when the shows are popping. So we just gotta make it to that 4:15 Untrainable Dragon, and that'll be our final attraction. But as long as we can make it in the next show, we're gonna be at about 9 hours for every single ride and show at Epic Universe, which would be incredible. That would mean that you have so much time to be able to do all those things, plus meet characters, plus eat food. Of course, you might see different crowd levels when you're here. You might see higher crowds and longer lines. If that's the case, our tips and tricks should still work. If you've been around AllEars, you know that we are typically able to more or less duplicate the same results in busy parks versus slow parks. You just might miss out on like 1 or 2 things on busier days, which odds are there's something I've done today that you don't feel the need to do. We will be keeping an eye on Epic Universe crowds, and if the crowds are dramatically different later this summer or heading into fall, you will see me try this again on a very crowded day to find out how much the crowds impact what you can get done at Epic Universe. Just a little tip on crowds. The park is fully open at this time. Crowds are low, but the parks are sold out, which does mean that they are limiting capacity a bit. I have been here during previews where they were testing what seemed like full or close to full capacity, and I know what those days feel like, and you can still get a lot done on those days if you are smart and have a little plan and strategy on your way in. My biggest concern for Epic Universe crowds is going to be this fall, September and October, during Halloween Horror Night season. I think a lot of folks are waiting for the park to get its kinks worked out and waiting for the heat to pass. 4:30, oh, we have ample time. I thought we were rushing. You guys want to see the Untrainable Dragon? I know I do. All right, we're headed into the theater here. Theater's not gonna be open until right before the show begins, but we can't film in there anyway, so I will be hanging out here before heading into the theater in about 20-ish minutes to see the Untrainable Dragon. This show is a very cute family show with singing and dancing and all your favorite characters from How to Train Your Dragon, but it does have perhaps the biggest wow moment of the entire park. And a little spoiler, it is when Toothless and Hiccup fly out over the audience. It makes me cry, it makes me feel like magic is real. I love seeing it so much. I love showing it to other people, so this is a show we'll be doing as our big finale. The show itself is fine. That moment when Toothless flies is, I mean, it feels like magic is real, man. I've seen it, that's my 3rd time seeing it. And it just feels like magic is real. I love it so much. I was a dragon kid, so this is big for me. But yeah, I think we've done it. Final count at pretty much exactly 8 hours from 9 to 5 p.m. We were able to do both shows and every single ride in Epic Universe. That's incredible. There are certainly some strategies we used today that are very important, and capacity was kind of in the middle today. So we'll see if these strategies work on higher capacity days, but I have a feeling they will. I've already experienced some higher capacity previews, and I would bet on these strategies then as well. 8 hours is an amazing count. That leaves plenty of time for eating at the restaurants, meeting characters, whatever you want to do. Seeing the fountain show is happening right now. And I'll be back at Epic Universe a ton, keeping up with how the crowd levels change to make sure that you get your money's worth and your time's worth and have the best time possible when you come to this park. I know I've already been sappy about it, but I am so happy this park is open. Congratulations, and thank you to all the team members who've worked on it. I hope you guys get to experience it soon, and I hope you love it as much as I do. If you're still here, like this video and drop this secret code in the comments so I know that you made it all the way. And don't forget to subscribe. We upload challenges, tips, games, and more from Epic Universe and beyond 7 days a week. Because we're serious about fun here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.